Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, race fans, here at Lake Macquarie and on the GP Hydro live streaming. Welcome, as I said, to the beautiful Lake Macquarie, the awesome part of the world that is playing host to round one of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. It's the 2024-2025 2025 season, and we're kicking it off today. Our first race of the day is our SuperSport's class. We've got the SuperSport's 85 mile an hour and the SuperSport's 65 mile an hour. They're our speed limited classes, a lot of sort of entry-level race boats or boats open to more people to join the sport. And it's a ripper class, a lot of competitive racing, so I'm really excited for that. Next up, we have our Supercat Extremes, our big boats, our Extremes, and our 600 horsepower boats. They're going to hit the water afterwards, followed by another SuperSports race for today. I'll run you through the course here at Lake Macquarie. It's a 6.66 kilometre course. A nice one. It's one of the only courses on our calendar that has a right-hand turn, a little dog leg, as they come down the back straightaway there, which is where you'll see the boats out there floating in the milling area. That's the location of that right-hand turn. So that's something exciting that we get here at Lake Macquarie. For our first race, we've got our poles here. We've got, in the 85 mile an hour category, we've got Colonel Racing, Mick Kelly and Jason Kelly. The Kelly boys, a good turnout here, as always, in offshore. They're on pole 1. In pole 2 is Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson in the ripping special edition Cootercraft. Pole 3, RS Motorsport, Ryan Shan and Scott Kelly. All of last season, they were picking up the pace, so we're really excited to see what they can do. They're going to be bringing some pace to the table, I'm sure. They've done a bit of testing alongside the Colonel into this season, so I'm sure that they're confident and they're strong. In pole 4, we've got Hayden Wachewski in the C52. Excited to have Hayden back on the race course. You'll note out there on the water, he's one of the only cockpitted boats, him and the RS Motorsport. He's the white single outboard hydro lift European offshore boat with a single 300 horsepower. So a different boat. We don't have, well, he's the only one of that style of boat out here. So excited to see what he can bring to the table with a fresh 300R Mercury racing engine. And in pole 5, we've got Watersports Marine Racing, Anthony McAnally and Darren Tickell. They're going to be rounding out the field. They're had a hiatus from the sport, but they're back, and they'll be in pole 5 for our first race today. Down to the 65 mile an hour boats. We've got Hun 74, Greg Walter, the Haynes Hunter. He's starting in pole 1 for his first time in pole 1, so he's excited. Pole 2 is Nutcase, Harry Backer and Shane Payton, the Razorcraft, the beautiful black and green Razorcraft. They're always a strong competitor. They're always in with a chance, always in with a fight here. So keep your eyes peeled for them. Pole 3, we've got the Cootercraft Villain, Team Villain Racing, Danny Cayley and Dean Cayley. Look out for them. Baby Blue Villain, they're in pole 3, always competitive. Pole 4, we've got the All Coast Marine of Aaron Jackson, the bow rider here, the Australia's a 65 mile an hour field in pole 5. So it's going to be an exciting day, or exciting first race here, as the boats are waiting in the milling area for the start boat to pick them up. And I can just hear from race control that the start boat getting ready to wave the yellow flag. So 6 minutes till race start. So we're 6 minutes away from a race start here at Lake Macquarie for round 1 of the 2024-2025 Offshore Superboat Championships. So we're going to turn to the water and watch the boats as they settle in and the drivers get ready for an epic race. Alrighty, the start boat has been called to wave the white flag. We're 2 minutes from a race start. And with these offshore races, what we see is the start boat leads the course, and they do what we call a parade lap. Now, this gives the drivers the chance to familiarise themselves with the course, as well as settle into their pole positions, ready for when that white flag drops and racing commences. And it's also an awesome opportunity for you guys here that's trackside and on the GP Hydro live streaming to really get a good look at these boats as they're going slower, around that 40-45 mile an hour mark, as the start boat carries them around. It gives you a great chance to look at them and really enjoy these boats before they get into their work. Before I get into my work, I'd like to take this chance to thank a few of our awesome partners and sponsors here. We've got, of course, the Lake Macquarie Council and the Empire Marinas for being so kind as to offer this awesome venue to us and host us year after year, and they put on an awesome show and let us do our thing. So a massive amount of thanks to those guys, because without them, this really wouldn't be happening. Action Property Maintenance for doing our trophies. That's of Hayden Washevsky, who's out there racing, and he contributes greatly and puts together our trophies and those things for the competitors. And finally, Hornet Property Services, a massive new sponsor for the championship this year. They've put in a lot of work and a lot of time and effort into our media side of things and sponsoring some race boats and really making this sport, just getting it better and better as we go along. So really excited to have them on board and see the contribution that they can make. We can see some of the boats have started up. We can see the special edition, and we can just faintly hear the 730 horsepower Maritimo built big block purring along out there as it warms up and it gets ready to commence the sighting lap. I think I've just heard from race control that we're about to kick off the sighting lap, or the parade lap, sorry. Yes, start boat's getting up on the plane, and they're going to lead the race boats around this beautiful 6.66 kilometre Lake Macquarie race course. Stephen Carter in the 21-foot ring, beautiful boat, and he does a ripper job committing to the series with his start boat and the effort that he puts in. So thank you to Steve. You do a ripper job, mate. And we can hear particularly that special edition with the big block purring, but we can see the rest of the race boats starting to commence their lap. And you'll see where they're going through now, those two orange turn buoys there, that little gate, that's our start line. So as the start boat leads these boats on the parade lap, they're going to be let go at those orange buoys up the top there, and they'll come down through this bottom turn in their poles, and they'll be free to race along the front straight here. And you'll see the checkered buoys right out in front of where I'm standing here in the race control truck. That's our finish line, so you'll get a great glimpse as the boats come across the finish line there as they barrel down the fairly long straightaway into turn number one. Nice little left-hander down there, and they'll gun it up along the back straight. And the sound that these boats produce with the hills around here, the buildings, it really echoes, and it really gets me excited for a day of racing. So here we go, as the boats are coming down the bottom turn, they're about to come onto the front straightaway, and through our checkered buoys here, we can see the 21-foot ring, Stephen Carter in his start boat doing a ripper job with that white flag waving. The white flag waving signals obviously 2 minutes to start and the parade lap, and he'll drop that flag, and that's when the boats are free to race. Who have we got coming through first? C52, Hayden Washevsky in the hydro lift with the 300R Mercury Racing, followed by Colonel Racing, the 24-foot skater catamaran, pair of 200X Mercuries. He's in 85 mile an hour class. Michael Kelly and Jason Kelly, followed by Greg Walters in Hun 74, Ryan Shan and Scott Kelly in RS Motorsport, that orange shifty catamaran that you saw. And there is the big Coodercraft Boss, the race spec Coodercraft Boss that you can hear. It's the loudest boat on our course, and it's got one of the big blocks that power the Super Cat Extreme boats, and it's got one of them. The big boats have two, so that's a really exciting boat. It sounds awesome out on the course, and it really looks awesome. There's the back of our 65 mile an hour field just coming across. The black and green boat on the inside is Harry Backer and Shane Payton, the nutcase. And then I believe we had Danny Cayley and Dean Cayley in the Coup de Craft Villain on their outside. They're going to be tackling that bottom turn now, familiarising themselves with the course and getting ready for their race. A really exciting class, this SuperSport's class that we've got here. Relatively new. It's sort of been the last few years. It's really taken off, and it's a great entry to the sport for new competitors or old. The Kelly family, one of the most legendary and oldest families in offshore. I think we've got Steve Kelly, who races Supercat 600. He's along the shore here somewhere. I saw him earlier. So some more of the Kelly family are in the Colonel, which is a genuine skater catamaran, beautiful boat. And there's a Kelly in the RS Motorsport. And those sort of boats, along with the special edition, are really, thoroughbred race boats. They're the real deal. And it's good to have sort of those lower spec race boats, but still very genuine, very competitive race boats. And our 65 mile an hour class is a real good entry to the sport. There's a lot of leisure boats that enter this class, or boats that manufacturers have made, but to bring to the sport to prove their product. And that's the beauty of it. We've got Coup de Craft here, and we've got Razorcraft, the Razorcraft nutcase, Harry Backer, in our 65 mile an hour class, and the Coup de Craft in our 85 mile an hour class. They are boats that anyone here can buy. Anyone can go out and purchase these boats, get these boats built for them. And these guys, Mark the Russian of Coup de Craft and Harry Backer of Razorcraft, bring their boats to the race course to test their products, to find out how their products handle, to really bring a good product to the public. And that's the awesome part of these categories. We see the start boat leading them up the top end of the course. This is about the time that these race boats will start to settle into their pole positions and get ready for a race start as they go through those orange marker buoys down there. So I'd say maybe a few hundred metres to a kilometre away from a race start here. So everybody trackside, get up to the water, get close, get excited, because it's about to go off here at round 1 of the 2024 and 2025 Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Carter in the 21-foot ring. Start boat is leading the race boats towards the orange buoys. We're getting closer and closer. We're seconds away from a race start. Get ready. You can hear the boats really getting up. They're getting the foots in the throttle, ready to peg it. This is going to be a good one, guys. Round 1, and the flag has dropped, and we are racing here at Lake Macquarie. It's a ripper start from Hayden Wachewski in the C52. Looks to be RS Motorsport, Ryan Shan in second, then to the Colonel, then Special Edition. The 65 mile an hour boats are through the flags now, and we've got Harry Backer and Shane Payton in the Razorcraft nutcase. They're leading. Then it looks to be Gregor Walters in Hun 74, the Haynes Hunter in second. He's got the inside line. And then it's going to be Danny and Dean Cayley in the Coup de Craft Villain, Team Villain, in third spot as they go down into that tight left-hander down the bottom end of our race course. We get ready to see them come across the front straightaway, guys. Get trackside. It's about to go off. We can hear the Coup de Craft coming. Who's going to be in front? Mick and Jason Kelly of the Colonel Racing. Just a nose in front, and it's Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson in the Coup de Craft who look to have the run down the front straightaway. Ryan Shan and Scott Kelly in RS Motorsport trailing just behind. Then to the C52, then Watersports Racing. What a start from our 85 mile an hour boats. Here we go. It's absolutely gunner to gunner. We've got Razorcraft, Nutcase, then to Greg Walters in the Hun 74, then Team Villain Racing. Then we've got the we got PFM Revolution, then All Coast Marine rounding out your 65 mile an hour category. What a start from Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson. they look as if they just got the nose ahead of the Colonel Racing boys. We're going to see who comes out in front, and it is, in fact, the coup de craft, Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson, that beautiful 730 horsepower Maritimo-built big box singing as it goes up the back straightaway. Looks as if the Colonel boys, Mick and Jason Kelly, just have the inside line, so they might have an advantage coming up along that back straightaway. But that is great racing up the front end of our 85 mile an hour class. RS Motorsport just trailing behind. Don't count them out. They're working. It's a fast boat. It's a proven formula of that boat, and it's fast, and they're working it out, and they're going to be up on the pace in no time, so keep your eyes peeled for them. 65 mile an hour category now. We've got Harry Backer and Shane Payton in the Razorcraft Nutcase, that beautiful black and green Razorcraft. They're out in front. They've extended a little bit of a lead over Greg Walters in the Hun 74. It's his first time starting on pole, Greg Walters. He's very excited for this race, and he won't be too impressed to see the backside of that boat, but he'll be lurking, he'll be fast, and it looks as if we've got Team Villain, number 300, Danny and Dean Cayley, the father-son combination in the coup de craft Villain in third place there, and then it's going to be PFM Revolution, Matthew Simpson and Kai Lee in fourth place, and fifth place is going to be Aaron Jackson in the All Coast Marine bow rider, the cruise craft. Our 85 mile an hour boats are coming up to complete the first lap of their race, and I'm interested. I just can't get a glimpse. Here we go. They're coming into sight. We've got the coup de craft in front, pulling a little bit of a lead over the Colonel Racing boys, Mick and Jason Kelly, our last year's champions. So they're not going to be too pleased to see the backside of that boat. Definitely the coup de craft is more suited for the racing. So they've got to front in these calmer conditions here today. RS Motorsport doing a good job trailing behind, and Hayden Wachewski, he had a rollover in Geelong or earlier on in this year, last season, and had some serious engine damage from taking on a little bit of water. So he's still feeling it out today, I'm sure. Been back in the boat. A few changes have been made to the cockpit, and obviously getting that engine sorted to come racing here. Have a listen to the coup de craft boss with the big block Maritimo built racing. That noise never gets old, and I tell you what, the racing between the Special Edition and Colonel never gets old either. They're always at it, they're always going hard, and they're always good sportsmen between the two of them. It's always 1 and 2 between those guys. It's hard to pick a leader at any given day, so it's exciting to see close racing that we expect from those two guys. Our last of our 85 mile an hour boat, Hayden Wachewski in the C52 hydro lift, rounding out the field. That's a European-style offshore boat, that one. They usually have a smaller engine on it, and he's gone and put the increasingly popular 300R racing engine. As you'll see, a lot of these boats out here have these 4-stroke Mercury racing engines. There's still a few, our Colonel Racing and RS Motorsport. They're running the 200 and 300 horsepower 2-stroke Mercury engines, respectively. But the 4-strokes are really starting to take control and prove that they're the ultimate performance package from Mercury Racing. Who we got here? Harry Backer and Shane Payton in the Razorcraft. They've pulled out a good lead over Greg Walters, but I tell you what, the Villain is gaining on Greg Walters. That's going to be interesting to watch. The coup de craft, typically, again, a rough water boat, but those boys, they're fast. We know they work well together. The father and son combination of Danny and Dean Cayley, with, of course, Danny the driver and Dean his co-pilot. They're fast, and they look to be gaining a little bit of time on Greg Walters. And here, I've got my timing sheet up here, so we'll have a look at sort of what lap times that first lap was. Colonel Racing, they pulled out a 3:59, and the Special Edition did a 3:57. So 2 seconds faster on that first lap between our two lead boats. That's impressive. We'll go down to our 65 mile an hour boats, and we'll see Nutcase did a 5:04, Hun 74 did a 5:08, and the Villain did a 5:10. But their second lap so far looks to be fast, or their back end of that final lap looks to be fast, because they're definitely closing the gap on Greg Walters in his Haynes Hunter. Special Edition have pulled out a big lead over the Colonel Racing boys. I'm interested to see what their times are. They pulled out a big lead. And don't forget, guys, these classes are speed limited. So the big boats are 85 mile an hour class, are speed limited to 85 mile an hour, obviously. And that's not done by a mechanical governor or any electronics. That's purely down to the throttle and the setup of their boat to maximise speed and acceleration, reach that 85 or 65 mile an hour class speed limit. Those speed limits are there for safety, but also keeps a really tight field, because no one can really have a boat that's just miles ahead in terms of speed. So it really comes down to driver skill. Speaking of skilled drivers, Mike the Russian coming through the front here. That boat is just sitting beautifully on the water. The Colonel comes through, Mick and Jason Kelly, losing a bit of time on Special Edition. Our last year's champions won't be too pleased with that. RS Motorsport, Ryan Shan and Scott Kelly sitting in third for our 85 mile an hour class. A couple of experienced drivers in that boat, and they're just slowly chipping away, getting the speed of that boat sorted. They did a lot of pre-season testing down on Port Phillip Bay in Victoria, Melbourne, where they're based. So excited to see how they progress through the season. Hayden Wachewski, C52, the boat's sitting nice, but just lacking some of that speed by the looks of things. And SuperSport's Marine Racing, Anthony McAnally and Darren Tickell rounding out our 85 mile an hour field. 450 horsepower Mercury Racing engine on the back of that boat. So that's quite a high horsepower boat, but just lacking some of the pace. But new guys to the field, or at least back from a long hiatus, so they'll be sanding themselves out. As we just look at the back straight, and you can hear that coup de craft, and it sounds magnificent. It sounds like it's running sweet, and they're pulling a bigger and bigger gap over the Colonel Racing. They've had a lot of setup changes on that boat, on the coup de craft with that engine. They've gone from different fuel injection methods, and they've settled on an EFI setup. And the boat's as reliable as it's been, and it's running sweet, and it sounds sweet. You can hear how that Maritimo big block is running, and it's a thing of beauty, and you'll hear more of that later with our bigger boats when they come out to play. We're just waiting, and the front of the course has gone a bit quiet, but not anymore, as our 65 mile an hour category boats are coming along the front straight away. Harry Backer and Shane Payton have got a good lead, but I tell you what, Greg Walters in the Haynes Hunter, Hun 74, is closing the gap on the Razor Craft there. He's doing a good job. He's found some pace. He's settled into his race, and he's clawing them back. These are half an hour races, guys, so we've got a fair bit of time for these moves to happen. And he's definitely put that boat to work, and he's clawing them in. PFM Revolution, the young fellas, have just pipped the coup de craft villain. So well done to Matthew Simpson and Kai Lee. They've obviously put in a good lap. Well, look at our lap times. They did a 3-minute 59 compared to a 4-minute 5 from the Villain. So they've found some pace, or perhaps Villain are nursing some problems. I know I was speaking to Danny this morning, and yesterday they went for a little squirt and they lost power steering. So maybe they've been haunted by those power steering gremlins. It definitely makes things harder to race without that. So who knows what's going on? Only time will tell. As the coup de craft boss, Special Edition here, comes across the line again with Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson on board. Have a listen to that. Gets me excited hearing boats like that. Here come the two strokes, the 200 XSs on the Colonel Racing, barking as they go along. They're a ripping sounding motor too, and they're a proven race boat, they're a proven team. RS Motorsport, they have the 200X Mercury outboard, two strokes on board, and they're sounding good too. They look as if they've just posted a little bit of a faster lap. Let's have a look. Yeah, they have 3-minute 12 compared to the Colonel's 3-minute 13. So they've found a little bit of pace over the first half of this race, which is exciting. We've got 19 minutes remaining, so we've done 11 minutes of our race. So we're really starting to settle in, and the drivers are going to put in the stint for the next 20 minutes. As Hayden Wachewski, C52, fourth place in our 85 mile an hour class, he crosses the line. He's riding solo on that boat today, usually has a co-pilot. Not today. SuperSport's Marine Racing look as if they've gained a little bit of time over C52 there. Let's have a look at our timing screen here. Yeah, they've gone 2 seconds faster on that previous lap. So they've found a little bit of pace, which is quite exciting. As this race progresses, they're settling back into offshore racing, settling into the format, and getting their boat running fast. So really awesome to see. 65-mile-an-hour boats are just coming down that back straightaway, about to come through the start line, those orange boys, and they're going to get rounded up by the 85-mile-an-hour boats over the next lap or two. So that's something interesting in these races that have two different classes, a faster class and a slower class, is we've got the lap traffic that comes into play. Sometimes boats in the lead can get held up by the lap traffic, and it really opens the door for moves from the boats behind. Not to worry though, as PFM Revolution boys, well, they've even gained a bit of time on Greg Walters, Hun 74. They've done a great job. Matthew Simpson and Kai Lee, they started in 4th place and they're up to 3rd. They've picked off Team Villain and pulled out a big gap on them, and they're gaining by the 2nd on Greg Walters in Hun 74. So they were obviously putting in some good lap times. They've found some pace in the boat and they're working well together, the young lads there. Good fellas on board that boat, ripper guys. So good to see that they're doing well out there. Our 65-mile-an-hour boats are coming under the front straight away here. And it's important to think about these speed-limited boats here, because we've seen this massive jump in speed from the PFM Revolutions. At the end of every race, they have to submit their GPS, their onboard GPS set by race control. They need to submit them to race control to confirm that they haven't broken out of their speed category, and if they have, they'll be penalised accordingly. As they're going on the outside of Greg Walters, they're going to make a move into turn number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Great racing from those boys. Here comes the coup de grace around the 65-mile-an-hour boat, sounding awesome, running awesome, sitting terrifically as it makes move on those slower boats. And I'm tipping we're going to see PFM Revolutions come out of turn number 1 in 2nd place. They're going to make a move around the outside of Greg Walters. Exciting racing here in the 65-mile-an-hour class, particularly. Ryan Shan and Scott Kelly in the RS Motorsport. Shifty catamaran. I believe that's the 2nd ever shifty catamaran built by Paul Gibbs from the Gold Coast. Paul Gibbs, a legend of our sport of offshore racing. He builds those shifty cats, and they're a ripper boat, successful boat. And Ryan purchased that boat last year or late the year before, and he's put in the work and he's getting that boat up to a really competitive state. He's going to continue working and getting it faster and faster, and he's going to be towards the front of the field in no time. Looking towards the back, and PFM Revolution haven't quite got in front of Greg Walters yet, but they're side by side along that back straightaway. Hayden Wachewski coming along the front here. The hydro lift with the Macquarie Racing 300R getting the job done. So, PFM Revolution, the boys of the moment, they just posted a 3-minute 56 lap time compared to Hun 74, Greg Walters' 4-minute dead lap time. So they've really found a bit of pace, as it looks as if they're poking their nose in front. They're trying their best to get around the outside of Greg on that back straightaway, as the looks as if the Colonel boys are starting to make some moves on those 65-mile-an-hour boats. Yes. They're coming around the last of those 65-mile-an-hour boats, or the first track position, last for them, passing them, and they'll be back in clean water to try and attempt to catch the special edition Coup de Craft Boss. But that's going to be a hard task today. They're running hot. Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson, they're doing a really, really good job inside that boat there. Here we go, 65-mile-an-hour boats and PFM Revolution. Matthew Simpson and Kai Lee have just poked their nose in front of Greg Walters down that back straightaway there. They've just got a boat length in front That's exciting coming down into this bottom turn. It's a slightly tighter turn, left-hand turn down the bottom of the course here. Greg has the inside line. He's switched over. And who knows, he might make a move back on the PFM Revolution Racing boys into that final turn. We've got 13 minutes remaining of this first race here, so definitely a lot of time for more moves to happen as the Colonel Racing 24-foot genuine skater catamaran comes across the front straightaway. Absolutely legendary boat here in Australia. Been around, been in the sport for a long, long time, and hey, it won last season's championship, so always competitive, always strong. RS Motorsport just getting caught up on some of the wakes of the smaller boats there. They've had to cross back out into some clean water. It's really important that these faster boats coming up on the outside of these smaller boats give them plenty of room, and for their safety and for the smaller boat safety, stay out of the washes and give those smaller boats plenty of room to continue racing, because they're not in the same championship, obviously, so they're not racing for points against each other, so they've got to be leaving plenty of room. As just listen to that coup de craft go along the back straightaway, guys. Absolutely phenomenal boat. It's sitting nice today. It's sitting straight, sitting good in the water, and they're racing hard. Hayden Waszewski, C52 Racing. So Hayden, with Action Property Maintenance, a big thanks to him and the team who pump out the awesome trophies for the competitors here at these race weekends. Always have a new design, and always exciting for the guys, and he does a ripper job of committing to those trophies. And the sport, even when he's not racing, his boat's out of action, he's committing, and he's getting the job done, bringing us our trophies, our silverware for our competitors. Again, thanks to the Lake Macquarie Council and Empire Marinas for hosting round one of our Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here. They do an awesome job. They put on a great dinner last night, a great sort of meet and greet for the drivers, VIPs, sponsors, friends, family, to sort of get together, have a drink, have some food, meet, and get excited for the season. And they do one of the best that we have here. Does the Empire Marina. They do a really good job, very hospitable, and a great pit setup. So guys here that are trackside, after the racing's done today, I urge you, come down to the pits, check out these boats, get up close, meet the drivers, get a photo with the drivers, with the boat. It's really exciting. It's one thing, boats out on the water, but it's another thing really getting up close and seeing the beauty of these things and seeing how they're put together and how they're set up. It's really, bring the kids, bring everything, everyone's welcome, get down and meet everyone that makes this stuff happen. Crudercraft got a bit of banging down the front straight away. That's an abnormal sound. Be interesting to see if they hold out through the race. They've had some reliability issues over last season when I was in the boat actually, and hopefully they've started to iron things out. Here come the Colonel Racing boys, Mick and Jason Kelly. Mick Kelly with Property Services doing an excellent job, tipping in a lot of resources to our season here. So thank you to Mick. He's back in the sport. He's actually purchased the Colonel Racing boat, and he's put in a lot of time. It's on a beautiful new trailer, and he's contributing greatly to the championships in all sorts of aspects. So a huge thank you to Mick and his family and his business for committing and being such a great help to getting this stuff happening, to getting racing on the water. Good on them. Harry Backer and Shane Payton. Shane Payton is giving the crowd a wave as they come along the front straightaway in a solid first place. PFM Revolution and Greg Walters, they're having a great battle. It's really not much between them. A couple of boat lengths to split the pair here. Great racing here. in our 65 mile an hour category. Harry Backer and Shane Payton have secured a bit of a strong lead as we approach the 8 minute to go mark. Danny and Dean Cayley and the Villain, they're putting up a good fight. They're certainly not letting it slip. They're holding on as best they can. And Aaron Jackson rounding out the 65 mile an hour field with SuperSport's Marine, Anthony McAnally and Darren Tickell just coming up on those 65 mile an hour boats. So they'll be negotiating the lap traffic to get back in clean water and continue racing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's 12:28 now. So about, according to my screen, we've got 8 minutes left of racing. And I guess now the schedule for the day, we have a half an hour break, and then at 1 o'clock the Superboat Extreme and Supercat Extreme, beg your pardon, and Supercat 600 come out to play. They're our big top class boats here in Australia, and we've got some of the best drivers from around the country and around the world coming to put their boats on display and race hard. So stick around, guys, because they're on in just over half an hour, and then these sports boats will be back out to finish the day's racing. As Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson come across the front straightaway here, they've got a strong lead in our 85 mile an hour category. So that hull of that boat is exactly the same as a standard Crudercraft Boss that anyone can buy. We've actually got a Crudercraft Boss out on the field as a safety boat. So exactly the same deep V hull. It's just got a slightly different top deck on it, a slightly sleeker, racier top deck. And of course, instead of having a set of outboards on the back, it's got a great big hole in it with a Maritimo built 730 odd horsepower big block racing motor. Fuel injected, whereas the engines in the big boats are still carburetted. So a little bit different here as we've got RS Motorsport coming across the front straightaway here. They're doing a good job. They're going to pick up third place if they can hold out for the rest of the race. So good points in the first race of the season here. Let's have a look to our timing screen. We've got Special Edition. Their last lap they posted a 3 minute 10. Their fastest of the race a 3 minute 7 second. The next fastest lap looks to be the Colonel with a 3 minute 12. So really strong pace from the Special Edition Crudercraft Boss. I'm sitting, what's that? 5-6 seconds faster than second place. So they're going to be wrapped inside that boat. I was speaking to Mark earlier, and as we know, he goes, it's not really our water today. Flatter here. Lake Macquarie can chop up a little bit, but it's flat today, and he says, this is not my water. It's not where my boat's fast. It's built for this rough water racing, and this is flat water today. So he's doing a stellar job to drive that boat. Such a big lead. I mean, he's got a whole back straightaway over Colonel Racing, which is absolutely absurd. Good racing here in the 65 mile an hour category. As they are coming down onto the front straightaway here. Harry Backer and Shane Payton, the Razorcraft nutcase. That's a cold front as well, so that's the same sort of hull, the bottom part of the boat that anyone can buy from Harry. And they've put a different top deck on, a little bit more, they've set it up a little bit more for racing. But the actual sort of handling and the hull of the boat is identical to what anyone can go out and purchase. And that's the exciting thing about this sports class. And look at Aaron Jackson in the Cruisecraft, the bow rider. He's doing a ripper job. He had a great race up on the Gold Coast, our last race of the last season. So that's a leisure boat, ladies and gentlemen. That's a boat that you take your family out on the bay for a day. And he's here racing it, and he's putting in a strong performance. He's putting in some fast lap times. He's doing, he's done a 3:57. The Villain did a 3:59, so he's well on par with some of our bigger race boats. Speaking of big race boats, the Crudercraft sounding awesome. So the Crudercraft sitting at 3 minutes 7, 3 minute 9 laps, and we've got 3 minutes 40 to go. So I would say that we're going to have one, maybe two more laps to go. Yep, confirmation from race control down in the truck here. Crudercraft Special Edition will do this lap and one more, and then we're going to see the checkered flag. So this racing, it's half-hour racing, then to whoever the next finisher is. So if, say, Crudercraft finish or come across the line at with 1 second to go, they've got to go around and do another lap. It's half an hour to who the leader is. So we'll see the checkered flag waved soon for those boys, provided that they do get the boat home. And hopefully I don't put the commentator's curse on them, because it does happen. Oh, and I tell you what, they look as if they're slowing down. I can't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I heard a little bit of popping and banging, and I've looked over and I can see on the back straightaway the Crudercraft, the Special Edition, Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson. It's come off the plane. They're slowing down. You can't hear that big block roar. And they're coming to a complete stop. They've got issues on board that boat. The back of the boat's down in the water. They're peeling off into the inside of the course by the looks of things. Their race looks to be done. Oh, I can't believe it. Just as I said, the commentator's curse, they've gone and stopped. Yes, confirmed from race control. Crudercraft Special Edition engine dramas on board that boat. They've come to a grinding halt, and the Colonel boys, Mick and Jason Kelly, have picked up first place. That's the beauty of offshore racing here, guys. It's survival of the fittest. And the Colonel boys, they blew a gearbox doing some testing yesterday, and they've put a new gearbox in, and they're reliable, they're strong, and they're fast. So well done to those boys getting the job done. You can see as if they've just slowed off a little bit. They're now really focused on bringing that boat home. Have they stopped as well? Ladies and gentlemen, it looks as if the Colonel is... The Colonel is slow. Oh, boat in the water. We've got drivers in the water. A boat's gone over. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to red flag the race. We've had a boat go over. It looks to be Team Villain Racing. Drivers look to be okay, which is good news. So the red flags are up, ladies and gentlemen. There was a lot going on. That might be why the Colonel slowed down. They might have seen the guys in the water and they've probably stopped to offer assistance. But both drivers look to be okay. I can see them moving in the water via my live stream screen. Which is always good to see that these drivers are okay when these incidents do happen. Rescue boats are on the scene. Divers are in the water to support these guys here. But I think I can confirm that they are okay. Not what we want to see here. That will likely wrap up our race one here. We only had 30 seconds to go at the time of the flag. So I'd imagine that will wrap up racing here for the first race. I'll stand by and wait for confirmation from race control. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's the race one and done. These competitors here, they have a lot of safety gear on, whether they're in a cockpit or in an open boat. They've got race suits on, they've got helmets, they've got head restraints on board, so they're really safe. And it's good to see that they're okay. Awesome to see, guys. We've confirmed from race control and our rescue teams out there on the water that both Danny and Dean Cayley are indeed okay. They're on board a rescue boat now, and Mick Kelly is on board their boat, and he's going to bring it back to safety. So everyone's okay, guys, but that will be the wrapping up of this first race here. We're going to have a break, and in half an hour we're going to be back with our Supercat classes, our Supercat Extreme and Supercat 600. We've got the two big Extreme inboard boats with two big blocks powering them, 40 foot long, the real beasts of the open water, those boats. And then we've got our Supercat 600, our slightly shorter boat, slightly smaller, with two 300 horsepower outboards powering them. So we'll be back for more action on Saturday of round 1 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. I look forward to catching you all here on the shore and on the live stream shortly.